Hey guys, PokeDan here. I've been making Pokemon videos here on YouTube for the last few years, but one type of content that I've never touched upon are Pokemon theories. Nah, I'll just leave those to the professionals. But recently, I was sitting in my chair wondering about all the theories that have been proven or debunked. Then this happened.
Alright Dan, what's up my dude?
Nothing. I've just been thinking about all the proven and the debunked Pokemon theories.
Hey, that would make for a good video. In fact, there's two ideas right there. Let's collab.
Oh, that'd actually be great. So you want to collab because you have ideas to contribute for these videos?
Nah, views have just been really low lately.
Yeah, fair enough. Haha, so yeah, Ozzy's in the video now. Anyway, today you join us to talk about 5 Pokemon theories that have been proven correct. Also, when I say proven, it doesn't necessarily mean that there has been concrete evidence. For some there has been, but for others, a lot has been heavily implied.
Also, this is a 2-part collaboration. Over on my channel we talked about 5 Pokemon theories that have been debunked. So once you're done here, be sure to check that out.
One more thing. Just because we're talking about 5 theories in this video, that doesn't mean that there aren't any more out there. So if you know of any, be sure to let us know down in the comment section. But with all that being said, let's get started with the video. What are you doing? We've already played the intro?
Oh.
Kicking it all off for today's video, we have a classic theory about the Pokemon Mew and Ditto. I'm sure you've all heard of it by now, but for those who haven't, there's a theory out there that suggests that Ditto is a failed clone of Mew. This psychic kitty is the ancestor of all known Pokemon. And upon learning this, Team Rocket made it their mission to make a clone of Mew, which as we all know led to the creation of Mewtwo. Mewtwo was stated to be the only successful clone of Mew, suggesting that out there in the Pokemon world are the rejected clones of Mew. Like I said, it's been thought that Ditto takes the title of Mew's rejected clone. And the evidence out there definitely suggests this. For example, in Pokemon Yellow, Ditto can specifically be found in the Unknown Dungeon and Pokemon Mansion, 2 locations that are heavily linked to Mew and Mewtwo. As well as this, there is so much more evidence out there, like the fact that these Pokemon both learn the move Transform, they share the same colouring and shiny colouring, and that Ditto can successfully breed with most Pokemon. Why is this? Well, because Mew's DNA contains the information of all Pokemon. So to conclude, Mew and Ditto are both heavily linked together, and this theory is as good as confirmed.
Dan briefly spoke about this Pokemon, but for this entry, Mewtwo becomes one of the main focuses, along with Mr. Fuji. Back in Generation 1, Team Rocket took DNA from Mew in order to create a perfect clone, and as we all know, Mewtwo was the result. As to who exactly created Mewtwo, not much is known, but one theory suggests that one of Mewtwo's creators is none other than Mr. Fuji, and there is a bit of evidence backing this up. Before Mr. Fuji became a resident of Lavender Town, he lived on Cinnabar Island, where he was known as Dr. Fuji, and created the Pokemon Lab. Since Mewtwo was created on the island and the Pokemon Mansion also resides there, that was enough to make people believe that Mr. Fuji was involved in Mewtwo's creation. When the side series Pokemon Origins was released, Mr. Fuji's involvement with Mewtwo became a lot more obvious, because as Red described Mewtwo to him in one scene, Fuji seemed to know all about it. Although, in Pokemon Origins, it isn't explicitly stated that Dr. Fuji created Mewtwo, Professor Oak explains that the journals found in the Pokemon Mansion did belong to Mr. Fuji, which revealed he was a dedicated Pokemon researcher, where he had conducted extensive research on these digital pocket monsters. Professor Oak also explains that Fuji was working on creating an artificial Pokemon in the hopes of creating something really powerful. Although we cannot categorically say Fuji created Mewtwo, we believe the hints speak for themselves.
The next theory we're going to be talking about relates to the characters Giovanni and Silver, and the theory is that Silver is Giovanni's son. Unlike some of the other theories in this video, this one has actually been proven in one of the games, but more on that later. In the first Pokemon games, we were introduced to the villainous character Giovanni. As pretty much every Pokemon fan knows by now, Giovanni was the leader of the evil group known as Team Rocket. But after the events of the Kanto games, Team Rocket disbanded and Giovanni disappeared. One generation later, in Pokemon Gold and Silver, we were introduced to the rival of the player known as Silver. Silver was a very no-nonsense character, who was determined, strong, and had a big hatred of Team Rocket. Because of this, people theorized that Silver must have had some sort of connection with the evil group. And that's where the rumours of Giovanni being his father first started. This theory was backed up quite a bit in Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, when a scientist confuses Red as Giovanni's son by saying, You're not Giovanni's kid, are you? No, that can't be right. Giovanni's kid has red hair. This was all that was needed to make the fanboys everywhere connect the clues and determine who Silver's real father was. One generation later, in the Gen 2 remakes, this theory was confirmed to be true when, in a flashback during the Celebi event, Giovanni was seen abandoning his son Silver. The failure of his father is where Silver's hatred for Team Rocket stems from. And even though they've not been seen together since, it's cool to see this theory be proven correct. Now we need to find out who Silver's mother is. Could it be Ariana, Mars, Ramos? All strong contenders, but who knows? That's another theory for another day.
The next theory we're going to be discussing involves the Pokemon Cubone and Kangaskhan. Gotta love the classics. This theory has been around since before Dan even knew how to walk, and it suggests that Kangaskhan is the real mother of Cubone. But before we get into this conspiracy, I can't stress enough that this isn't actually confirmed. However, there are a lot of implications in the Pokemon franchise that Kangaskhan is Cubone's true parent. Firstly, let's take a look at the baby that Kangaskhan carries around in its pouch. This Pokemon isn't part of its own species and doesn't even have its own name. It just lays around in its mother's pouch all its life. Damn, I can relate to this little guy. Anyway, as well as this, Kangaskhan's baby also looks similar to Cubone, which is compelling evidence already, but there's even more. In the Alola games, Cubone is found at Wella Volcano Park, and when it calls for an SOS Pokemon to help it out in battle, there's a small chance that a Kangaskhan will appear. In fact, that is the only way to obtain Kangaskhan in the wild in Alola. Also with SOS counters, Pokemon ordinarily call members of its own evolutionary family, or just Pokemon that relate to them in general, so surely this isn't a random species that appears to help out, and if that's not enough evidence, I really don't know what is.
Well, Ozzy, if this is the case, then how come Cubone evolved into Marowak? And how do you explain Mega Kangaskhan?
What are you even doing here? Get back in the bag. Besides, the skull that Cubone wears of its dead mother could easily be similar to Kangaskhan's. We don't know what this hunky Pokemon's hiding inside, and as for the different evolution, maybe that's what naturally happens when Kangaskhan's baby is left to fend for itself, minus the whole skull thing. The Mega Evolution part, yeah, that's kinda hard to explain. If any of you guys know of an explanation, leave it down below. But personally, as we mentioned earlier, the whole premise of this video was to present theories that hold substantial evidence indicating they're canonically true or outweigh the possibility of them being false, meaning they don't have to be confirmed to be mentioned in this video, so thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
The final theory we're going to be talking about in this video relates to both the Kanto and Alola regions, and it's the theory that the Let's Go games were hinted at during Generation 7 all along. With every Pokemon game, we get callbacks to the region where it all began. But during the Alola games, there were so many that it was just like, okay, when are we going back then? The biggest hints we received about a possible Kanto remake came from both Pokemon Sun and Moon and their sequels. And it was when either Lily or Gladion, depending on the game, decided to travel to the Kanto region. After this happened, a few people began to theorize that it wouldn't be long until we'd also get to journey here once again. And with the Let's Go games being released next month, well, it looks like they were right. Even though I'm not personally a fan of going back to Kanto again, I understand why these games are being made. It's because Game Freak just want to cash in on that Pokemon Go trend. Oh, sorry, I meant to say, we all miss the Kanto region, right? For real though. Even though this isn't something that interests me so much, I still think it's cool that these games were subtly hinted at during Generation 7. But anyway guys, with all that being said, that pretty much wraps things up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. I'd also like to give a huge thanks to Ozzymitsu, and I suppose his assistant Becky as well, for joining me in this video.
Thanks for having me.
Us.
Shut up! Anyway, as I was saying, Dan and I also made another video over on my channel talking about 5 Pokemon theories that have been debunked. So if you'd like to see more from us, be sure to check it out.
One more thing guys, if you disagree with anything in this video, or if you know of any other theories that were proven correct, be sure to let us know down in the comment section. But with all that being said, for now, I've been PokeDan, you've been amazing, and I'll see you guys next time.